Shelby.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Saaghe Fogwe podcast. I am super excited today. And for one special reason, I'm older. I'm a year older now. That's why I'm really elated today to have this first panel show because I have some panelists here, some powerful ladies, some in the studio, some virtually. And I chose a topic for today that was very special to me because I had a birthday on Christmas Day. I turned 48. Proud and of my
Happy birthday.
my 48. But the reason we chose a topic to talk about life after age 40, a lot of women are afraid of getting old. A lot of women are depressed when they get older. A lot of women, not only women, men. I'm focused on women because we have a powerful women panel, right? But it applies to everybody. So the reason we chose this topic was to have a simple conversation. Let's have a conversation today about, what it feels like when you're crossing over 40 or you're getting closer to 50 or you're getting closer to 60, but after age 40, have that conversation today. Reach out to people, make people feel more confident in getting older, and have a good vision for what the next few years have in store for them. So I'm not going to do all this talking by myself. I have some really powerful women here. I'm going to introduce those in the studio, and then we're going to bring on those who are virtual. So welcome everybody. And if you're just joining us, feel free to start sharing the link. If you're already subscribed, share the link. If you're not subscribed, make sure you're clicking that notification button, button, the bell, so that you know when we go live. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce the first lady here, Mrs. Ernestine Nchopa Ayafor.
Yay.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
It's going to be amazing.
All right, we'll come back and do a more, detailed introduction. But I have another powerful lady here, my new sister from work.
Absolutely.
Mrs. Shelby Ford.
Hello.
Welcome, lady.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. This is a really fun opportunity. I'm excited for it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then we're going to bring forth our first lady who's online. I have two who, these are classmates. So we've been friends since not elementary school, junior high. So we spent 5 years together. So in boarding school. So these ladies we go way back. So the first one is Miss Mahwan Mundi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Welcome, Michelle.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Good to be here to share my little pearls of wisdom.
Good to have you. Good to have you. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
And then the second lady online is Miss Barbara Akum. Welcome, lady.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. I'm sure this is going to be a fun podcast today.
Awesome. Okay, so we have one person on standby who's in motion. She might join us, technology, but we'll keep moving, right? So I'm going to start with Miss Ernest. Yeah, are we good? I'm going to start with Miss Ernestine, but I might want to share. Let's go ahead and share the link. Yeah, I'm going to share the link with you ladies, so that you can, if you need to go ahead and share with others, we can do that. Okay, Shelby, I'm sending this to you. Okay, if you're still joining us, get comfortable. This is going to be a fun conversation.
It's going to be fun.
This is a round table, kitchen table conversation. These ladies have. This panel is full of it's a wealth of knowledge. All these ladies have different experiences that they're willing to share today. No filter, we're gonna get this we're gonna get this conversation kicked off here in a little bit. Okay, Barbara, it's coming your way as well. And then I'll send to Patience just in case. All right. So you guys can share, send a link wherever, and then invite someone, invite one or two people to watch with you. Don't be selfish. Watch with someone, someone you love, someone you don't like. Still share. They'll benefit from it, right? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Keep your volume. Yeah.
Can we do Facebook Live?
Mhm.
All right. A couple more shares here, and then we'll go right into the conversation. Yeah. You. All right. Okay. You good, Shelby?
Mhm.
All right. Okay. While she's sharing, I'll start with you.
Okay.
So introduce yourself to the viewers. Uh, just tell people who you are, your background, where you come from, why you're so feisty. No, just kidding.
Me?
You,
Uh,
moi.
right. My name is Shelby, and I work at Her Care in Fort Worth, and it's a women's hormone clinic, which I absolutely love. I love helping women and just talking to them and understanding what they're going through, and being a part of their lives essentially. I am a wife of almost 18 years. I have 3 kids. I have 2 boys and a girl. My youngest is almost a teenager, so we're all hitting in the teenage years right now, which is fun. I'm originally from New Hampshire. I grew up
I
in New
didn't know
Hampshire.
that.
Yep.
Okay.
I originally from New Hampshire, moved to Arizona for a few years, and then moved to Texas. So I've kind of been all over the states in that regard. Um, and yeah, I've been here for a while. We just living here, living the life. Homeschooled my kids for a few years
Mhm.
back in the day. Now they're all doing either public school or online school, and this is it. We're just living in Fort Worth.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
You're
that intro. And we'll
welcome.
go more into
Yeah.
detail about homeschool and all that. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Miss Ernestine. She
All
was my first guest on the
right.
podcast.
Yeah, I
After the
was.
first show was with the producer with Tori Day, and
Mhm.
then the second show was with her. So yeah, so the viewers have seen you before, but for those who have not seen you or
Yep.
heard you, introduce yourself to them, please.
All right. So thank you for having me first. Secondly, happy birthday.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Guess what? Till the end of December, you're still +1, right? So I am so thrilled to be here. I'm excited about what this will bring. I feel like we women, we don't usually sit and talk, which is something we need to do more. And I'm excited to have Shelby and all the beautiful ladies online.
Mhm.
So today, I want to introduce myself. Who am I? I'm a wife, a financial professional, an entrepreneur, a mom. I raised 6 kids. In America, some people are like, "Oh, how did you do that?" My husband and I say, if you do it once, just rinse again and repeat. You can do it twice and so on. So I love my life.
Mhm.
I'm a Christian. That's something that, I'm very proud to talk about. And I know in the world today, people try to, hide their beliefs, hide who they are. But I'm so proud to say I'm a Christian. I'm also a pastor's wife. That just came up recently. And those are not some of the things that I'd always wanted to be. But hey, you know what? When you're serving God, you never know where He will land you. What else can I say? I'm originally from Cameroon. Moved to America, went to Arizona, stayed there for a little bit, and we've been in Texas ever since for about, give or take, maybe about 10 years. And Texas is home. It just feels right to be here,
Yeah.
and it's a blessing. We have a little bit of traffic. I love this place. I do. Um, what else? I like to make a difference in the lives of people. That's one thing that I know that sometimes if somebody was to describe me, they might omit that, but I would say I like to make a difference.
Mm.
I might not know how to do it correctly, but I try.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
so maybe I've forgotten some details, but over the
Yeah,
course of the
yes, we'll
conversation,
get to know you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna turn to the ladies online. Marwan, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell the viewers who you are, where you come from, background, whatever you need to tell us. Oh, oh, we lost you again, your volume.
Let me.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, now we can hear you.
Yeah. All right. My name is Mahwan Mundi, and I've known Saaghe for years. Since we were about 11, I think, at PSS Manka. As well as Barbara, so we're all classmates. Um, my passions have changed over the years, and I've just, it just changes as I grow older. And right now, I love to travel. I love to run. I love hiking. So those are my passions. And I also volunteer for an organization called Young Lives. And what we do is we mentor teenage moms. And that is really something that I enjoy doing. We work alongside with them. I have this thing that if you have to be a pro-lifer, you cannot just be pro-Beth. And that is why that organization is very, very important to me. So that is something that I do that really gives me joy. And just to see these young women who are teenagers and pregnant come to life with their babies. So that is what I do on the side. Professionally, my background is in package design, and I'm an account manager now working for a paper company making corrugated packaging and displays and specialty packaging.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll get to know her a little bit more as we talk. As she already alluded to her, each lady has their focus. They're gonna have their, they have their passion, they have their purpose. So this was very intentional. So we're gonna talk, have Barbara introduce herself to us, who you are, where you're from, and yeah, what you're about.
Okay, thank you. Well, as Saaghe has said, my name is Barbara, last name Akum. I've known both Saaghe and Mahwan seems like forever. And you know those kind of friendships that go away, but when they come back, it's like you never went away. You stay for years and you don't talk to each other, but when you get back together, it's like your last conversation was yesterday. That's the kind of friendship and relationship we share. So over the years, we've gone our ways, done our own things, and then come back again, and it feels like natural. It feels like we're born in the same house
Mm,
because we're so young when we knew each other, innocent, and I can actually tell you who Saaghe is, core to the core, and I can actually tell you who Mahwan is, and same to me. So who am I? I'm a single mother of a 15-year-old boy. That has been a very, very interesting journey on its own, but it has been very rewarding and very fulfilling because nobody can mirror you better than your own child.
mm. Wow.
So as they grow up, sometimes you see yourself in them. It makes you grow, it makes you strive to become a better person. And that's who I am in my day to day life. The core of me is being a very compassionate and caring person. I care a lot about my fellow human being. I'm very compassionate about people's well being. Maybe that's why I was directed to the career that I do now, which is nursing. And also by the side, I'm a financial professional helping families. In as much as I help them back to health, I also don't only want to see them well, but would thrive if I see that they're well and doing fine in the society and in the community. I'm a Christian, a Catholic Christian, funny to say, because our school went to was a Presbyterian school. It has been hard to juggle both because as you get exposed to things in life, it it affects your your own belief.
Mhm.
But most of them, most of my beliefs have been affected positively by most of the exposures that I have gotten. And for that, I'm very, very grateful. But most of what I'm grateful for is that my paths crossed with these two beautiful ladies who are on the panel today. Thank you.
Thank you,
Wow.
lady. Thank you,
Mhm.
Barbara. Thank you so much. So most of 90% of us here are above 40.
I'm almost
Who
there.
said?
So 90% of some of them are still denying their age, by the way. They still are acting like they're not 40 yet. There's somebody here I had to drag across the floor to be here. She said she's not 40. Like, who's 40? Talk about yourself. You're on your own. So she was refusing that she's not 40. I'm like, hey, I remember us celebrating your 40th birthday. So hey, you are above 40. But the only person who's not is Shelby. Shelby is previewing 40 next year. She said it like 8 times last week at work to remind us that
I
hey, I'm
know.
about to be 40. I'm
Yeah.
about to be
I'm
40.
excited about
Yes.
it. I think
So
it's a rite
so
of passage.
she's on this panel today to talk about why she's excited about going into her 40s. She's turning 40 next year. So I'll start with you. Even the ladies will talk about, being 40 or above 40 for those who are not yet 40. Anyway, so Shelby, I'm going to start with you. Just talk about life right now, like life in your 30s,
Okay.
and then why you're excited about that glimpse. You're standing at the glass, you're looking at 40 across from here. There's a room over there, the room for the 40-year-olds. What are you excited about? And just talk about the 30s, like what is different, what has
Well, I mean,
changed.
I can even go back to like my 20s. When you're in your 20s, you just have these insecurities that you don't know how to deal with. You still have trauma that you're trying to heal from. You have a lot of different things that you're trying to combat at a really young age. Whenever I got into my 30s, I really started to recognize a lot of things about myself.
Mm.
I got to see a side of myself that I had never seen before. I learned a lot about myself as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, as a daughter, just as a whole.
Mhm.
And you start to recognize and see where all of these things have come from, where they've transpired from, what events in your life caused you to be this person that you are or
Mhm.
to react this certain way to certain situations. And so I think as I've gotten older, I've really, I've grown a bit and I've seen myself in a different light.
Mm.
I've become more confident as a
Mhm.
woman. Um, I've gained a little bit more independence, and
Mhm.
that's something that I think is important too, because I think sometimes women and moms and
Mhm.
wives, we become so dependent on our spouse for a lot of different things, a lot of our needs to be met, and as I've gotten older, I've realized that these needs need to be met by myself.
Mhm. Yeah.
Nobody else
Yes.
can
True.
do this for
Yeah.
me.
Mhm.
So I am really excited about
Mhm.
that. I don't know. I always thought getting older would be scary, but
It's
it's
not.
Yes.
It's
exciting,
not.
Mhm.
like I feel like
It's not.
it's fun and it's neat to
Mhm.
just be able to turn a year older,
Mhm.
like because it's a privilege that so many people don't get to experience.
Mhm.
And
You're an
so
old soul, so you're
yeah.
already. So I
I'm
mean, it's a
already
mindset.
there,
Yeah, it's a
Sahi.
mindset. So it's really a mindset.
Yeah.
You because like you said before, you had that fear of it being scary to get
Yeah.
older,
Mhm.
but as you grow older and you're more confident in what you do, you're more confident in your goals and values.
Mm.
Absolutely.
That makes a difference.
It does.
It makes a difference. And as we're talking to all these ladies, this will come together. We'll see that there's a common theme. Everybody in their own way
Mhm.
is excited about growing older. They're doing their
Yeah.
own thing, and and it shouldn't be scary. So we're really wanting to talk to women out there who are still afraid of getting older, that it's okay.
It
It's
is.
okay to add one more
Yeah.
year, you know. So I'm gonna shift gears over to Ernestine, and
Ah,
who is a
Who's almost 40
who is
with
not
me.
40
she's
and
not
she's
afraid.
denying her age.
And I'll tell you where this whole story came about. Like my kids, even from when they were very young, they'll be like, "Mom, how old are you?" I'll be like, "Oh, I'm still 16." Like, what? And
Every year you're
every
16.
year I'm 16. So even though some of them are all grown, they still look at me, they're like, "Mom, did you at least turn 18
18
already?"
this year.
So it's just a joke.
Yeah.
And I am so thankful to grow old. It is a beautiful thing. Not everybody gets to the age of 30 to start with.
Mhm.
Some people are born and they die.
Mhm.
So if you just first of all, let's just push it back. Us sitting right here is a big privilege.
Mhm.
It's a big blessing. I tell you the truth, life is a gift.
Mhm.
And I'm speaking to any woman out there or anybody. If you're given just one more day, not talk less of so many days,
Mhm.
just one more day to live, to be alive, to breathe is a
Mhm.
blessing.
Yep. Make it count.
Make it
Mhm.
count,
Absolutely.
not only for yourself, for
Yeah.
somebody else.
Yeah.
So I just appreciate God for giving me the opportunity to get to this age, live above 40. It's a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
It is.
Yeah.
And don't take the jokes seriously. It's just
Yeah.
jokes.
Right.
That's what keeps
And
us fresh, right?
yeah,
Keeps us,
I
yeah.
mean,
Mhm.
and then it's also
Mhm.
it's a number. That's what I've come to realize.
Mhm.
Age is a number because guess what? You can make a difference at 15 years old, at 10 years old. You can change the life of somebody
Mhm.
at
Mhm.
age 100.
Absolutely.
And you can make a difference in this world at any age.
Mhm.
So some people don't want to do something that they say, "Oh, I'm too old for that."
Mhm.
They don't want to start life or they don't want to leave.
Mhm.
They feel like, "Oh, you know what? They're too old because they're
Yeah.
40."
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right? But why somebody at 45, at 50 feels like life is just starting?
Yeah.
I just want to go out there and change the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
That's how I'm
Mhm.
beginning to see
Mhm.
life.
Okay.
First, as a gift, it is just a
Yeah.
blessing to be
Mhm.
alive. Just on Sunday, there were like 3 car wrecks when I was
Mhm.
driving to church.
Yeah.
So when I got there, I was like, sometimes we take things for granted. We take life for granted. We take another year, Sahi. God
Mhm.
just gave you one
Yes.
more
Yes.
year.
Mhm.
Thankful for
Please
that.
don't take it for granted.
No, I'm not.
And if you're a little older, hey, 40 is where sometimes we see some wrinkles. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's a
Black
blessing.
don't cry.
It may crack. Let your soul not crack.
Black don't crack.
Hey, you get up
I
in the
had to.
morning, you see some wrinkles pop up. Please don't be scared. It's okay. That's part of the process. Don't let your soul get old. Because if your soul and your spirit gets old, that's what will weigh you down. Who
Yeah.
cares about a few wrinkles? Who
Right.
cares if you can't get up from bed the way you used to? You can't do the split the way you used
I'm
to.
still gonna do
It
the
is
split. I am
He's
doing
okay.
the
doing the
splits.
splits every
I
day.
did yoga last week. Oh no.
That's what I'm talking
The
about.
hot yoga.
That's what I'm talking about. And hey, you can relearn how to do
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And yeah, for me, it's a gift
It's a
to be
gift.
above 40. It's a
Amen.
blessing. I've embraced it. I'm more confident, as Shelby just said.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you get to 40, you're more confident. You're not a child
Yeah.
anymore. And one thing that I can say is that, you know what? I've come to, really love myself.
Mhm.
I'm in love with myself. And when you're younger, you feel like, oh, you want to be validated. You want
Yeah.
people to look at you and like you.
Yeah.
And you want to do things so that people can see you and you want to impress. That's
Yeah.
where I'm
Mhm.
going. No.
No.
Here, no.
Mm-mm.
No. If something, first of all, will please God, that's my number one priority.
Amen.
And after that, I want to see if it will please my really immediate, my husband,
Yes.
if it will please me, and then I'll go from there.
Yeah.
And as long as I'm not going to hurt God, hurt
Mhm.
a fellow human being,
Mhm. Yeah.
Sometimes I don't want somebody else to tell me their opinion.
Mhm.
That's where 40 can get you to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're grown, a little bit grown,
Yes, a
what
little
we
bit,
used to
just a
say,
little
just a
bit,
little
a
bit.
little bit grown. We've grown a little
We've
bit.
grown a little bit. When you
Yeah.
get to 40, Shelby, you grow a little
A
bit.
little bit
And
more.
it's fun.
Yeah,
It
It's
is.
okay.
it is.
It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. Speaking
So
of fun, my friend Mahwan. So this is my conscience. This is the lady. She's my daughter's godmother. My daughter has two godmothers. She's one of them. And so she's that friend. I mean, like we've already said, we've been friends since we were like 11, and we've stayed friends, like forever. So she's one of those, who she doesn't she'll tell me as it is. If you want to get mad, you get mad.
that's good. That's very good.
Yeah.
It's
You want
good
to
to
get
have
mad, you
somebody
get
like
mad.
that.
Absolutely.
And that started
Accountability.
Yeah,
even before
I
she
agree.
turned 40. So she's always been an old soul. But her thing is, when you talk about fun, this lady knows how to have fun. Okay.
Ah,
She likes to travel. Like she said, she's been working out forever. I admire her so much, her tenacity when it comes to fitness. I admire her. So Marwan, speak to us about the journey. You've come, I mean, you've matured through the years, you've grown through the years, but like I said, you've always been an old soul. Just speak to us about that growth.
Muted. No.
Okay.
Okay.
Now you're, yeah.
No, I don't. I really don't sit around and think about my age, to be honest. I just I just live life day after day, year after year, and I keep on moving. Right? I really don't think about am I getting older? It's just something that never really crosses my mind. Um I have a lot of people that I look up to and just see how they have aged, and my mother is one of them. Right? So growing old doesn't scare me. My mom, my uncle, her brother, my grandmother, like I've just seen how they have aged. So it really doesn't scare me. I don't think about it much. Um, I celebrate every birthday to the fullest. I don't wait for milestone birthdays. And it could be as little as going out with friends or hanging out with friends, right? I just make sure that I appreciate every year that I get on this earth, right? I think Shelby and Ernestine have spoken to that already about the gratefulness of just growing older. And for me, the one thing that, I look at my life back, in my 20s and the things that I did in my 20s or whatever. So I can remember this in Minnesota, right? I have no regrets whatsoever. Somebody had told me about something that I did when I was in my 20s, wanting me to feel bad. And I'm like, what do you expect from a 20-year-old? I'm gonna apologize for it. I did it. It happened. So
Right.
what? you know, and you move on. So with life, the way I look at life is about growth. Am I still doing the stupid things that I used to do in my 20s
No.
now? Right? And if I am, then there's a problem, right? So I just look to life as a process, a growth process, and becoming mature in every stage in every aspect of my life, be it my faith, being mature in my faith and growing in my faith, how I deal with friends, how I deal with family, and just making sure that I'm checking myself. The one thing that I have come to learn to do is to take responsibility for my actions.
that's good.
Yes.
I just, it's I have a call out with somebody, I really have to look within myself and say, Marwan, what did you do to cause that? And I
Mhm.
want to reach out to that person and say, hey, you mad at me? Can you please let me know why? Because I think some relationships are worth saving and others are not.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to
Mhm.
have that wisdom to know who should be in your corner and who should not be in your corner. I'm not saying to be rude to people or anything like that or just cut people off. I'm just saying just know where your boundaries are with people, right? And surround yourself with people who can uplift you and you can uplift them also. It's not only about getting stuff from people. So that to me is the maturity that I'm going into. Is just learning to pick and choose my friends wisely. Um, Friendships to me is super super important.
Yes.
Most of my friends I've known for years. Like if you've known me from when I was little, you know who my friends are, right? So My friendships are very, very important to me. And I've seen that. That's something I learned from my mother. She has friends from when she was in Okoyon back in the day, right? And she was the first batch in Okoyon. And she still have, and you should see them when they get together. They act like little kids, right? I love that. So that is something that I really do cherish, my friendships. And I think as you get older, you really, really do cherish those things.
Thank you. Yep. Yeah. When she talks about the friendships, that's true. It's a big deal for her. And I mean, just talking to these ladies, you can already see the people that you surround yourself with.
Mm,
You see the values that people have. And like she said, you don't. I mean, you choose your friends wisely, right? But it you can have acquaintances. You can have acquaintances out there, but you have people who are your friends, the
Mhm.
those who are truly friends, right?
Mhm.
So we're going to move on to Barbara. Barbara, this lady is ooh. She's a strong woman. She already talked about being a single mom. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, Barbara, but she just lost the father of her son recently. We're getting ready to do the funeral next month. But I had to throw it out there because she could have given me excuses not to be on
mm,
here.
mm,
But um she I want her, part of her journey is being a single mother. And I'm tearing up a little bit because she's one of those ladies who, even in the middle of her being stressed out, she's going to still be smiling. I'll call Barbara and I'll expect Barbara to be stressed out or, to be stressed out. No,
mhm,
she's still
mhm,
smiling. She's laughing at me while I'm stressed out about something. But she could have used her excuses, but her excuses are her opportunities, and that's what she builds on, and that's where her strength comes from.
mhm.
So I'm not going to steal the thunder from you. Barbara, speak to us about the growth that you've gone through, coming from where you're coming from up to now, your growth in your 40s, while while raising a 15-year-old boy.
Whew. Saggy, if you tear up, what do you want me to do? I guess I'll do what I do best, laugh. Because when I laugh over it, it opens a different phase for me. A phase of peace. And a phase that tells me that there's a tomorrow. And that's what growing older is for me. There is always a tomorrow.
Mhm,
No matter how many years have gone by, I'm grateful for the fact that there's a today, there's a now, and there's a tomorrow. I may not be sure of it, but with my faith in God that I have and the conversation that I have with my God every day, I can almost tell you I'm searching for my tomorrow. And that's what keeps me going. That's what makes me enjoy my growth, my age, and my maturity. What keeps me strong is the fact that I'm the oldest
Mhm.
in a house of about 6 kids. And
Firstborn syndrome.
I have always been the protector, the guide, the one who keeps the peace and the order in the environment. So I've always had an old soul, if you say that, because I've always been a mom. Maybe that's what gives me the strength to be a single mom of this 15-year-old, which has not been a very, very easy journey. That is a story for another day, but I cannot subtract from the fact that that aspect, either being a single mom by choice or by design or by accident, has a great effect on every female's life. There are different kind of single moms that are out there. Some of them have spousal support, some of them have strong support, but my own support has been my girlfriends, my family, and my very strong support system that I've built around me, which is a community of close friends that have always been there to see that I don't lack, and I'm always smiling. My son is like me. He has a very strong personality. And because we both have strong personalities, it's a big issue. But I'm happy that he's growing up to be a man with a strong personality, because if you don't have a strong personality, sometimes in this world, you may not be able to come above water. You may make it, but you may not come above water. Being a single mom has designed my life in a different way that I might have wanted it to. But God's time is the best. God knows the reason and the purpose for everything. And there's no aspect in my life that I would have changed for anything. I love my son to the
Yes,
moon
sir.
and back.
Yeah.
I love my friends to the moon and back, and they know it. And I would die for my family. If I have you as a friend on my side, that's how I've always been. 20s, 30s, even in the 40s. And some things just stick with you. You
Mhm.
grow older and you shed some of the childish stuff. It's hard for me because sometimes I don't think I had a lot of chance to be childish. I was placed in a role of leadership early, very early in my life, and I have always held that role very close to me and very important to me. That's why sometimes some people look at me as standoffish, as snobbish, and as, I don't know. But it's because I get very passionate. And when I get very passionate about something, I'll fight for it till the end.
Mm,
Mhm.
You're my friend, and you see that I'm not no longer passionate about your stuff, or I'm no longer very interested about what is going on with you, then you know that you're losing me as a friend. But because if I am, there's nothing about you that I will not poke my nose into to the very.
mm.
That's just me. And
That's
that's how I've
beautiful.
always been. I don't see it changing anytime soon. I see it getting stronger as I go older. And talking about the 40s, 20s, 40s, I've always lived my life with set goals, because one of the main reasons was because I had been drilled this from back home. You have to be the example to these
A role
kids.
model.
You have to be a role model. So I have tried my best to be that role model that my parents formed me to be. Sometimes I may not have succeeded. Oh, for example, like the single mother thing, but God knows why. But I take it. And also, the interesting thing is, being a single mother has made me a role model to my siblings and to many other people around me, like it or not. However way God designs your life, you can use it as a stepping stone to wherever you're going to. So 40 is a time of recollection. It's a time you sit back and look at how you have been in your life as a child, as a human being in your teens, in your 20s, your 30s, and then your 40s, and you reflect and you kind of build a story to realize who you truly are. And when you're in your 40s and you come to that realization of who you truly are, I guess that's where life begins. Because then you begin to enjoy life
Yeah.
differently. You begin to assimilate life in a different manner. I'm a person who, you know, calm for the most part, but I have a tendency to be rash in some certain instances. The instances for which you would think I'll go over the moon, sometimes I'll just look at it and just pass. And then sometimes the very little things that you think may not even cause Barbara to be annoyed will turn me over the roof. So sometimes it's difficult to tell. But one thing for me is my personality has really not changed. I'm who I am. And the unfortunate thing about me is that if you're my friend, if you're my friend or you're my enemy, all of my expressions, I don't have a poker face, let me see. So all of my expressions are read directly in my face. If you do something and I don't like, I don't need to open my mouth to tell you. If you're standing in front of me, you
The
would know.
mama look.
I love it.
If I'm happy with you when I'm standing in front of you, you would know it. So it's not. It has. This is how I have been, and that's what has driven me through life. And I'm appreciating life in my 40s. Life in my 40s with a 15-year-old. The only exciting thing I have is that, oh my God, he's soon going.
Is what?
And then you open doors for new opportunities. He's growing up, he's growing older, and by God's grace, I'm doing a good job, and he'll be a mature, decent human being that will bless the society
Amen.
in the future.
Mhm.
So, what's my take on this? Years have gone by. Yes, you can't take back those years, they're gone. Now, we have years before us.
Mhm.
What are we doing with them? That's my question to you
All
and
right.
everybody who cares, who wants to find out. What are you doing with your life at 40, beyond 40, and then even beyond? Because we all pray to live a long life so we can see our
Mhm.
children and our children's children and be able to bless them. So that's my take of this.
Yeah. So the mind jogger, what are you doing with your life? Is the question Barbara's asking us.
Mhm.
Purpose. And if you notice, the last few shows that I've had have been about passion and purpose. What is your purpose? When you find your passion, you find your purpose. And all these ladies have some kind of purpose. Um, I'll go back to Shelby. I'll start back with Shelby. Shelby competes. She's a bikini model competition
She
competitor.
has it all.
She has it all.
She has it all.
The next show she'll be in her bikini. No, I'm just kidding.
No, she won't.
She knows she won't. But talk about some of the things that you do in the community. You already kind of talked about it because you're very passionate about women, empowering women.
Right.
And this show is about that. This show is about uplifting people and giving empowerment, not just women. Empowerment, people moving to the next level, doing something. Because we're here talking about life in our
Yeah.
after 40. You're like I said, you're an old soul. Your mindset is already in that direction. You're ready for your 40s. You're not waiting for the 40s to do stuff. You're doing stuff,
Yeah.
So the things that you want to do in the community or you're already doing, just talk about some of those things. Yeah.
Well, like you said, I think it's important for women to empower other women to not be stagnant and to not just stay in one place and to not just get to the stopping point of growth. I feel like, we're always changing, we're always growing, we're always learning. And I think instead of me thinking like, oh, am I getting older? I like to think, am I getting wiser?
Hmm.
I
Wow.
think that's
That's a good
that's
one.
important. We need to recognize the things like she said that, the changes that we're making,
Mhm.
the people that we want to become, the goodness that we want to see, and that how we want to provide that to other people and inspire other people. I do, like you said, I like what we do with our job just because you're talking to these women and you're understanding them, and we're at their age, and some of these women come into this practice and they feel like they're alone. They feel like nobody understands what I'm going through. I'm having all these symptoms and emotions and all of these things are just happening and everything's snowballing. Like, what do I do? And it's so nice to be able to be a listening ear for somebody, who is not biased, who isn't going to judge them, who's not in their personal part of their life, so they can actually feel a little bit more free to share their what they're going through with you. I do like to go to the gym. And I've always kind of gone to the gym. I've always worked out. But 2022, my husband and I decided to we actually decided in 2021, but our prep was a 14-week prep, and we decided to do a bodybuilding competition together. And so that was really neat to have the support of women who are already competitors at our gym. And not even just women who are competitors, but even friends that I've met over the years, women who weren't competing, who are just super, super supportive of your destination. They were super encouraging. They wanted to see you succeed.
Mhm.
They wanted to help you. They wanted to
Yeah.
talk about it. They wanted, you know, tell me what's going on with you right now. Are you like, how is your prep? Are you stressed? You know, how are you feeling? And
Mhm.
it's so nice to be able to have that community of women
Mhm.
who are just so supportive of each other. We're not trying to compete against each other
Mm.
or knock each other
Mhm.
down or
Mhm.
discourage one another from doing great things with themselves. I mean,
Always
because
better.
yes, like we're
Mhm.
trying to
Mhm.
uplift them
Yeah.
and, you know, push them a little bit harder just to let them know, like, hey, I'm in your corner. I
Mhm.
got you.
Yeah.
And if you need to talk to me, if you need, you know, to vent, you need to go through something, you want to work out together,
Mhm.
whatever it is,
Mhm.
let's do it. You
Yeah.
know, like let's help each other
Yeah.
out. And that's something that I really value with our the community that we have just at
Mhm.
the gym.
Mhm.
And I think that, you know, it's not just the women, it's the men too. It's
Yes.
such a neat
Mhm.
thing to see.
Mhm.
Just see how these people and just are so supportive of
Yeah.
one another.
Yeah.
It might not be your road. That might
Mhm.
not be the path that you want to take.
Mhm.
You might have no interest
Mhm.
in doing a competition, and that is okay. But the support that we receive
Yeah.
from people of all walks,
Yeah.
of all
Mhm.
athleticisms and
Mhm.
people in different, just all across the
Yeah.
board. It's such a neat and it's a humbling and refreshing
Yeah.
experience.
Mhm.
And it's something that I really am grateful for.
Mhm.
It's so nice to have women
Yeah.
who just see you and
Mhm.
just want to not just, they want to be your friend. They want to
Mhm.
just pick your brain and,
Yeah.
we're willing to do that for each
Mhm.
other.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. It's really nice to be a
Mhm.
part of something
And to have a tribe.
and
You
to
have to
have a
have your
tribe.
tribe. You
Mhm.
And
have to
that's
have
Mhm.
your
exactly
sisterhood.
it.
You have a tribe.
You
You
do
have
need
it's
that.
very important
And we
to
don't
have that.
recognize.
Yeah.
I think people
Mhm.
don't recognize how much they need it
Mhm.
until they don't have
Yeah.
it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
and that's an unfortunate thing too.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I'm also doing it too so I can show my daughter, like,
Mhm.
this is hard work. Don't give up on something that you want to do just
Exactly.
because it's
Mm.
hard.
Yes.
Mhm. Mhm.
Everything that you're going to do in life is hard. You're going to
Mhm.
hit a point where you're just going to say, I don't want to do this anymore. But
Mhm.
that's the point where you need to decide, am I going to quit or am I going to keep going?
Keep
Mhm.
going.
You
I love
know?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
awesome.
part of doing like the competition aspect was kind of just to show her too, like,
Mhm.
look what women are capable of
Yeah.
doing. Like
Mhm.
we're awesome. We're badasses.
Yep.
Like we can do this.
Mhm.
Can we do it?
Yes.
Can
That's
we
what I
do
asked at
it?
48. So can I compete?
Absolutely.
Can we do it? though?
Absolutely. You can start at any age. And
Yeah.
that's that's the
Okay.
neat thing about
Yeah.
it is it's not discriminatory
Mhm.
against a number.
Hmm.
It's your
Yeah.
discipline, it's your
Mhm.
dedication, it's
Mental
your commitment.
toughness.
Yes, it's your
Yes.
mental toughness.
Yes.
And you
Like,
can
Mhm.
start at any
Yeah.
point.
absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
That gives
That's
me some
awesome.
hope.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
awesome.
What?
I know, right?
So, yeah.
Yeah. So
That
I'm going.
gives me
I'm gonna
hope.
skip gears. I'll go to Mahwan. I'll go online and then I'll come back to Ernestine. So Mahwan, you already kind of talked about some of your community, ventures with the kids, the youth that you mentor. Um, Speak to us about some of those things and how it has made you a better person just talking to these young people, because you and I have talked about some of these when we have conversations, and just how it helps you. I mean, Mom doesn't have a child of her own, but the heart that she has for kids,
Mm.
even when she talks to me, she counsels me, who is a mother of three, and I get off the phone, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, wait a minute. Why didn't they send me with the manual? I said
She is a
they
manual.
just dropped this book of babies off and no manual, So
She is a manual.
like I said, she's my conscience.
I need her
But speak
number.
to us about that, your community stuff.
Well, the reason I decided to volunteer for that organization is called Young Lives. So Young Lives, Lives. Young Life is the parent organization and the council work with teenagers. So Young Lives is geared specifically for teenage moms. And the reason I decided to volunteer for that was because I felt like oftentimes in this society we tell people, and as a Christian, we say do not have an abortion, it kills the baby and all of that. But what happens when they keep the baby? Who's there to counsel this woman? Especially they are teenagers, they're high schoolers, right? Some of them are young as 14. So this organization, we just walk alongside with them. Really, that's really what it is. So they have someone to talk to. And we just kind of stare them. We don't make decisions for them, right? We just stare them so that they can make their own decisions. It's always amazing when you volunteer to help someone and you see how much blessing you get from that. Like Saaghe said, I'm single, I don't have kids. I cannot do half of what these girls do. Okay, you give me a baby right now, I don't know what I'm gonna do with that baby. I don't even know how to put a child in a car seat. Okay, so I just think, there's a lot of judgment in this society on teenage mothers. But one thing I can tell you that they love their babies fiercely. Okay, and it doesn't matter what they're doing, right or wrong. If you wanna, say they're bad parents or whatever, but I would tell you that every decision they make, they know that it is because of their baby. You see what I'm saying? So I always tell the girls, I cannot do what they do. I just cannot do it. So I get a lot of strength from them. So it's not just about walking beside them. It's just me looking at these young women and just seeing how they struggle through life and how they do life and how they protect their babies. And they truly, truly, nobody wants to stay here and say be on food stamps or be on Section 8 house. Nobody grows up thinking that they were going to do that. Right, but a lot of times as a society we judge people like that, and which is so not fair. People do the best that they can do with what they have. So I found a lot of blessing in the community. Just walking, like I said, it's just right. It's a Christian organization, and you just walk alongside these girls and just help them make better decisions in their lives.
Awesome, thank you. And you also do marathons, so speak about consistency, dedication in those marathons, because when she wins she does this big jump.
I just finished.
Oh, she finished. Okay, when she finished, I don't know the terms, okay. I don't know the terms.
Hey,
but that's on my bucket list, running, to even run 3 miles.
Total.
It's still on my bucket list. But okay, on the 50th birthday, the countdown to 50, we'll do a marathon on the 50th birthday. But anyways, talk to us about tenacity and preparation for this. How mental toughness, because it takes a lot of that to prepare for a marathon.
I actually started running the year I turned 40, because someone challenged me to it. I've always worked out ever since I graduated college. I have consistently worked out, but running was just not my thing. Okay, I didn't see the point of it. And someone challenged me to it. And I thought to myself, oh my God, I'm turning 40, let me give it a try. And not only that, they were like, well, let's sign up for this 10-mile race, And I remember driving in my car to see what 10 miles really look like. And I'm like, nope, I can't do this. But I like challenges. I like challenges. It was a young lady at the gym. And I trained for it and I ran it and I loved it. This is 8 years later, I can still tell you what it made me feel like running down in Philadelphia, right, for that race. So I have, running has become, it gives me pure joy. And to me, running is really not about my health anymore. It's something that I absolutely love doing. It's a stress reliever for me. I mean, I can think things through as I run. And I'll come back home, I'm like, you know what? Problem solved. I run with a group of people. I run with a running group, and I run alone also. I don't run with any music. Rarely would I run with music on. I need to hear my own thoughts. And I felt like I used to run with music, but I felt like I was missing out a lot. Just seeing little things on the trail. Your music distracts you. And so I run quiet. I need to hear my thoughts. I need to hear the birds. I need to just hear things in nature. Yeah, so I've run 13 marathons and 250Ks. And it is really a metaphor for life, right? It's every time I struggle with something, I have to ask myself, because you got to train things. You train for like 16 weeks out, into the race, and I have to get up and I have to put on my running shoes and I have to go out and I have to run. Do I have to? No, I don't have to, right? But what I'm saying is I want to have a pleasant experience when I'm doing these races. You don't want to, die halfway through it. Um, so every time I have something that I'm struggling with, I have to think about it in the sense that I'm like, I tell myself, when you did put on your shoes and you did run, you don't give up. You keep going. You cross the finish line. And that is how I look at life now, right? Every time I struggle with something, I always have to say, it's a metaphor for life for me.
Mhm.
Definitely requires a lot of dedication, but I would always say this, anyone can do it. Because I cannot believe every time I cross the finish line that I just did that. I don't take it for granted, number one, right? This is something that I absolutely do not take for granted. Because I have friends who used to do triathlons, they have issues now with, say, their knees and they can't run anymore, their backs or whatever. So I don't take it for granted anymore. Oh, at all, actually, I'm like, this is a blessing. This is a gift that I'm gonna actually go out there, make the time to train, make the time to exercise, and I get it done. So it's definitely something I don't take for granted. I tell people too, I'm like, I have respect for the distance, right? I just don't get up and say, oh, I've done it before, so I should be fine. No, I have respect for it, so you have a better experience. And can anyone do it? Yes. I know people, my friends, Saaghe.
The 50th birthday.
Mhm.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. So this whole thing about getting older, a lot of times people are in their 40s and they're like, oh, for my 50th birthday, I'm gonna do this, that, or the other. Why don't you do it now?
Mm,
Why do you have to
that's
wait
a
till
good
you're
idea.
Why do you have to wait every day? Just do it. Don't sit there and start thinking about some huge party that you're gonna have when you turn 40, or you're gonna do move mountains when you turn 50, or whatever the case may be. Do it now.
No.
Don't wait. You don't know what tomorrow is gonna bring to you. So Saaghe, now.
Yeah. But think about it though.
Tomorrow.
Think about me in PSS Mancon. PE was my worst class. I hated PE. I
Remember?
hated sports. But look at me now. I work out.
Exactly.
I work
I
out.
was
So give me credit.
Yeah.
Give me some credit. I've moved some mountains.
And that is what it's all about, right? Moving mountains and growing. I mean, if we all sit there and I wasn't an athlete in PSS either, right? So if we sit there and say, I didn't play sports when I was in PSS, I'm not gonna do it now. What good is that gonna do? There's a lot of benefits from it, like we all know. It's just a matter of making priority. It's part of taking care of yourself. And I
Yeah.
and I know there's just we can get into that later. There's just a lot of things you have to do to prioritize yourself when it comes to exercising, because it's just one of those things that people start and drop off.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard.
Thank you. Thank you. Yep. Thanks for sharing. I'm gonna switch gears now to Ernestine over
Yes,
here.
ma'am.
So Ernestine and I met um through her husband. Her husband went to the school that Mahwan and Barbara and I went to, but he went years ahead of me. So and I never met him in that school, but we met here in the Dallas Fort Worth area. And we met in a weird way, and she's just become one of my sisters. She's a mentor to me in the financial space. She don't mind her sitting here humble and everything. She's my mentor. So I want you to speak to women out there who are ashamed of being stay-home moms. I know Shelby didn't talk about, she kind of alluded to it. She stayed home for some years too, so she can relate to this. But talk to women who are ashamed of staying home. Some of us are guilty for not staying home. But talk to women who are ashamed of that, and encourage them and tell them how you transition from being the only stay-home mom
Come
in our
on.
so
Come on,
in our
girl.
business.
Come
In
on,
our
girl.
business, let me say,
She's already saying it all. Why am I here?
in our business, there are people who will be like, I'm a pharmacist, I'm a this, I'm a that, and a that. When she introduces herself, she's like, I'm a stay-home mom.
And I am proud
Proudly.
about it. I am so proud about it. Now, one thing I didn't say, I said I raised 6 kids, but one thing I didn't say was I stayed home and I raised them.
Mhm.
And this is something that's like a stigma in our country and around the world because every woman feels like, oh, you know what? I don't want to be looked upon like a lazy woman or somebody who cannot contribute in my marriage or in my home. But every home is different.
Mhm.
That's where I'm going to backtrack a little bit. And before I share that part of my story, I want to tell you, you listening to me, you know your home, you know your situation. It's not everybody that can afford to stay at home.
It's not
It's
cheap.
not. But
Mm-mm.
if you can afford it, I will tell you that will be one of the best decisions that you will make in your entire life if you have
Mhm.
kids.
And you do have to sacrifice.
It's a sacrifice.
It is a
Mhm.
sacrifice.
It is. So I made that decision early on when my husband and I, when we got married and just looking at kids and having kids and, just looking at our children and looking at how much, childcare costs. And I felt so sorry for my kids. And I felt like, you know what? I would go and be giving money to somebody else to like impute
Mhm.
values to put in my kids their values to teach them their little young minds a language a culture that is not mine and again and I said and I will say this might not be you and if you see yourself in my shoe it's okay because usually on social media, I want to say it up front, we're here just to share stories. And I want you listening to us, please let it mean something to you. If it doesn't, share it to somebody that will be lifted up by what we share here. But don't forget, these are our lives and our experiences. Because you know what, people, my kids call it cancel. I love teenagers and I love young adults. I learned so much from them.
Mhm.
They're teaching me the new
The
lingo and
lingo.
everything. They say cancel. Please don't drag this show out there
Don't go
and
and
cancel
cancel
it.
us.
Don't say
Don't
one stay at
cancel.
home mom. Oh, I listened to Ernestine. She said we should all stay at home. That's not
No.
what I said.
Mhm.
I am saying that you might be in my situation, you might not.
And it's not for
And
everybody.
it's not for
No,
everybody.
for sure.
You make that decision based on your situation. You
Mhm.
make that decision based on what your home, your dynamics are
Yes.
about,
Yes.
right? So for me, when I looked at it and I'm like, these little young ones, am I gonna go give them? And I mean, there are a bunch of them.
A bunch
Yeah,
of
yeah, a lot
kids.
of
She
them.
has a bunch of
I have a
kids.
bunch of kids. If you have 1, 2 kids, it's fine. I mean, if you have to put 4, 5, 6 kids in a daycare, how much would that cost? So
The
let me
whole
say
paycheck.
this.
The
No,
paycheck will
no,
go
no.
back.
This is funny, right? So you will go. I thought about okay, if I were to have a job right now, I'll be out there duking it, only to take that same amount of money
Mhm.
and then I pay and I give it out there to the daycare to take care of the kids. And the next day I go back and I say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, and then take the paycheck and give it out there. It didn't make sense. To me, it
Mhm.
did not make sense. And I told myself, you know what? I would stay home. And I told my husband,
Mhm.
because one thing with my husband is that he trusts me enough
Mhm.
to
Yes.
make decisions
Mhm.
Mhm.
for myself and for certain things in our home.
Mhm.
And I trust him enough to lead me as my husband. And when you have that trust with your spouse, you know he cannot lead you astray. So when I sat with him, I said, hey, honey, I'm not gonna work. I'm just gonna stay home, take care of these children. And he said, if that is what you want to do,
Mhm.
I support you
Mhm.
100%.
Yep.
And that is how I did it. And I tell you the truth, it's not easy. You become like a chauffeur, an Uber driver. Now people have Ubers, right? My kids had their personal driver in the morning. Not only will I drag them out of bed, but I tell you the truth, when I think about those memories, it is
Mhm.
Yeah.
beautiful.
For
I
sure.
would never trade them for nothing. That's the most beautiful part of my being a mom. Like I would drag them out of bed. Sometimes we have breakfast, sometimes we don't. Didn't I tell you?
Yeah.
My life has never been a perfect one, but I enjoy every moment of it. And I'm so happy about the memories we made. I am not a super mom. I will tell everybody, if you want to listen to me, I'm not a super mom. I try to make ends meet. I just try. But one thing is that I enjoy the process. I enjoy the process. Please start enjoying the processes of your life. Don't live with a lot of regrets, right? So sometimes I would drag them out of bed in the morning and I put them all in the car, and I've always driven a van. Asahi, she made me drive in a van. Ah, guess what? What else can I drive? By the time I shove 6 kids in there, my husband and
With
I,
a bunch of kids.
tell me, what else? What else would I drive? A van. That has always been my car. And let me tell you, I would shove every one of them in that van and I would drop them off one after the other. And by the time I'm done dropping off the last one, I have just time enough to go back home, maybe get a little groceries, maybe clean up and tidy up the house a little bit. And it was time to pick up. I go and start picking up. And sometimes by the time I pick up the last person, and I'm not
Yeah.
picking up and dropping, where do I want to drop them to? To the daycare and then go pick the other? No. Everybody's gonna be in that car. I remember when I had an accident with my van, and it was not easy. First,
She has to write a
I
book.
would go, I would go us out of topic. Please just enjoy, okay? Some of these stories, maybe even Sai had never probably heard them. So you're blessed that she brought us here, right? I remember when I had an accident, it was a very sad thing, but I can laugh at it because I'm grateful for life. And a semi truck almost killed my then 1 year old and I. It was terrible. It was a very terrible accident, but I thank God that we survived. And the rental that was given to us was a very smaller car than the one my husband was driving. So, well, I had to shove every one of them and me in a 5-seater. And I remember just having, oh, the quarrel, the fight every day. Oh, shift. Oh, scooch. Oh, this. And when I look at it now, it made them bond. Because some of them who can now remember, they remember sometimes. They said, do you remember when mom used to shove us up in that tiny little car? We'll still drop off and we'll still pick up every single day. And just looking at them right now, 4 of them are in college. I cannot go back and take back the life that we've lived or go back and take their childhood. Imagine me dropping them off. Somebody else will be telling their stories, right? But I get to tell them, you know. And one thing I want to say, if you're a mom, please, when your children are young, they are not your best friends. My kids know that. When they were young, I was their mom. I'm not a very disciplinary woman or mother, but I can tell you, I know how to put my foot down sometimes, right? But they knew I was their mom and they respected me for that. But now some of them are my best friends because they have grown. You have just a very short time to shape those little hearts and those little minds. And if they are your best friends, sometimes I'm not like Mahwan. Mahwan, I don't tell Sai a lot. I don't tell Sai off a lot the way I should, right? I'm not like you. But you know, I have a way to speak to my friends when I see them drifting. But for my kids, I would tell you the way it is. And I made that decision early on. I said, you know what? If I'm not a mom in their lives, if I become their best friend first, then they will not see that authority and that direction of me shaping their lives the right way. Now, some of them are grown. I could say 4 of them in college, a few of them are graduating now. And we can talk about everything.
Yeah.
They trust me enough to open up. There is nothing it's so funny and it's scary. And it's so funny, it's so scary too at the same time. But I'm trying to learn this new me with the grown ones because I still have younger ones. But the grown ones, they tell me every single thing. Sometimes I'm like, wow, where is this coming from? But when you're grooming those little minds and you're making them, they trust you, they get to trust you. So I can go on and on with my kids, but I want to encourage you, if you're a stay-at-home mom, or if you're a mom, you're trying to juggle things. I tell you the truth, life is not easy. If you think it is easy, then you will not make it. But if you always get up every morning, forgive yourself for things you did not do right yesterday, for things you did not do at all. And you say, this is a new day. I want to start all over. Always give yourself that replay, touch that replay button and start all over. So for me, I've always wanted to be and do something in my life. But then the kids, I put them first. I'm like, no, these are my priorities. As a child of God, God is going to judge me one day. What did you do with the kids I gave you? What did you do with the life I gave you? What did you do with the people that I gave you? The people that I put in your life. So I decided to take care of them first. But then there's always been that urge in me. I've always wanted to do something different. I always wanted to make a difference, right? In the lives of not only my kids, but other people. And just growing up as a young woman back home in Cameroon, I felt drawn to the orphans and widows. I felt like even as a young woman, not even working, depending on be it parents and depending on uncles and aunties, every time I had a little bit of money, I always felt like, you know what, let me share and give something to an orphan,
Yeah.
something to a widow. So when I came here, looking at how my life ended up developing and us depending on one
Income.
salary, right? And that's one thing. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom, then you're gonna have to tell yourself, hey, you know what? We'll depend on one salary if you're married, but you cannot be a stay-at-home mom if you're not. You don't have a spouse that can be there for you. So things were not where I wanted them to be. We're comfortable enough to take care of ourselves. But even if I wanted to stretch a hand, it would not be something significant. If I wanted to, like, okay, let me be a blessing to a widow, an orphan, it might not be what I really wanted to give out. So I was searching and just wanting to do something that will go around the kids, around their schedules. Something that, oh, if I drop off, I probably can have time to do this. And even if I could get extra $200, extra $300. And that's what I want us women to start thinking. You don't have to do something because it is so big, it is so significant, right? Anything that can bring something extra to you might make a difference, even if it's not to you, but to somebody else. That was my mindset. And we always said, even in our industry, mindset is everything. The way you think is everything. If you change your mindset and polish it up, there's a lot that can come out of it. So with that mindset, I was searching, I was looking. So I touched a few things here and there. I did Mary Kay, I did Avon, I did this, I did that. But some of those things didn't work out the way I wanted. And somebody introduced me to, the financial professional world. And I found out that, hey, it it worked with my schedule. So I choose when I want to do it, and I choose how I wanted to do it, and I still was there for my kids. And I can tell you it's been an amazing ride, because guess what? I'm not waiting for that one salary to take care of some of the things that I'd always wanted to take care of. Um, we now have a foundation. Yes, it's not out there yet, but we grew from that time till now in being a blessing to so many people, to the needy, to the poor, to the orphans. I'm already a grandma somewhere. I don't know. Because there are kids, there are people that come, oh, mommy, mom. It's not because I'm old. It's not
And you're
because I'm
not
very
40
old.
yet, and you're not even
And
40.
I'm still 18. No, that's a joke. Please don't cancel me. Please don't cancel me. So I I'm a mom to most people. Some of them, I don't know them in person, but as God is touching my heart and me being there and just giving me the grace to live not only for myself and those tiny little, kids can
Yeah.
be When they are young, they can be really very greedy. I'm sorry. My kids will never, they don't follow me on social media, so I can say kids can be
You'll be
greedy
surprised.
when they are young.
You'll be canceled at
they
home.
want
They cancel their-
they want it for them, like it's all about them, but you now have to know exactly, hey, you know what, we're blessed, we have so much, let us extend a hand. That's what my husband and I have been able to do these few years that we have a side business. For him it's a side, it used to be a side, by the way, but for me it's been something that I do, and I'm so grateful for whatever comes out of it, and it's been a blessing. It's been a very big blessing because it does not only touch our lives, it gets to touch the life of somebody out there. I mean, so many people. Just in December alone, we get to, hey,
Touch
this
people.
person, that person, this one, that one. And even if you don't have thousands of dollars to give to somebody, you can give $1. 500 friends in Cameroon can buy somebody lunch, right? So you can start somewhere. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity. I always tell people, I say, hey, you know what? I cannot create what I don't have. And I told us earlier, I like to be me. It is very difficult to see it nowadays because people want to be somebody else. They want to be something else. They want to be like this person, that person. I am me. It's just me, the flawed person that I am. Okay, so I just like to be me and do things how God gives me the grace and ability. So I'm so thankful for the company we do business with, and I'm encouraging anybody, any woman out there, any stay-at-home mom, you can still find something on the side to do while you're taking care of the kids. But if you're not able to do it because your hands are really tied, forgive yourself every day. Enjoy your ride with the kids, because at the end of the day, if you raise them right, that will bring you joy. But if you did not, I don't know. But it always takes a village.
Yeah.
Sahi here is godmother to one of my daughters. And I don't know, but she helps too. Everybody around you can be there. Give them that chance. And as I said, I'll go in and out of a lot of different things as they come into my mind. Some people raise their kids, they cover their kids from others. Um, One of the things I did was open up my children to people that I know that can make a difference in their lives. Like, for example, Sahi, and I'm so thankful, to her. My pastor, Lawrence Nanje, he's one of the big influences in our kids' lives, and many, many other people out there. Please, if I didn't call your name, don't feel bad. They say it takes a village. The village has raised the kids, and every day when I looked at them, I'm like, wow, what did we do here? I don't only say, what did I do? Because other people have spoken into their lives, corrected them. Sometimes maybe you see them doing something wrong. You pull them on the side and tell them, hey, this is wrong, or this is how it's supposed to be. Maybe I don't even hear about it after that, and they change, right? So thank you to the village. Thank you to everybody that has been a blessing to another person's child. Thank you. You all, the church, for the most part, thank you. Communities, even the one my friend here is part of, right? Even when they make mistakes, do you cast them away? No, you still love on them. So all of that, has made me grown quite a bit. And I know I've spoken the whole time. I can go on and on, but I want to let everybody else speak. No, I want to let everybody else speak. I'm sorry, ladies, but we need to do this more.
I know.
This is short.
We'll have a part 2.
Yeah.
Anchor. No, but
I
this
can go on
lady,
and
she
on.
loves hard. This lady loves
I
hard.
try.
She, you can see the passion in her, right? You see her, it's coming out of her ears, it's coming out of every vent in her body because she loves hard. She again, like Mahwan talked about friendship. She's one of those who, who friendship means a lot to
A
her.
lot,
And
a lot.
I really wanted her to share to share about being a stay-home mom and still doing something, because there are a lot of people out there who feel like, it's they feel like their day is not fulfilled. They haven't done much because they stayed home to take care of their
Sahi,
kids.
can I take
Yes,
1
sir.
second to talk about that? I am so sorry, ladies. But if she talks about this is my domain, guess what? One thing I came to understand is if you're a stay-at-home mom, just beg your spouse up front. Tell him, hey, honey, some days if you come home and the house is messy from the
Yes.
front door to, please don't
Please
get
don't-
angry.
don't
Just
judge.
make sure you skip the toys,
I know.
come home, and then even if we don't have food, let's just whip something.
We'll
Maybe,
find
I don't
something.
know,
Yeah.
some
Uber
pizza.
Eats.
Get some pizza and eat. That is something that you understand as you realize as a stay-at-home mom that sometimes
yeah.
people will call you lazy. I'm
Oh,
sorry
yes.
about
I
that.
got that
Sometimes
too.
people say,
Mhm.
But I think I totally agree. Your spouse being your number one
Supportive.
supporter
Mhm,
in that decision
mhm.
makes it or breaks
difference.
it.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was something that my situation was very similar to yours, where I decided when right after my first son was born
Mhm.
that I wanted to stay home. I tried to take him to the daycare
She cried.
just to see, and I cried. I couldn't leave him. I was like, I can't let somebody else.
Mm.
I can't just give him away to somebody all day and then give him my
Yeah.
paycheck.
I know.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
That's
so-
what happened.
But my husband was the number one supporter in
Supportive.
that.
Yeah.
And he
Mhm.
said, this is your decision
Mhm.
and I support you 100%. And if I did not have his support, then no, I don't think you can be successful at
You
that. And I
cannot.
stayed home for 14 years. and
You
it's-
cannot,
Yeah.
Miss Shelby. I tell you the truth. And sometimes people call you lazy because maybe you've been busy all day and you didn't clean the sink is full of dishes. Welcome to my world. And guess what? It
But
doesn't kill anybody.
But I kept all my kids alive.
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen to that.
All
And
my
that's a
kids
big
are-
deal. And
all
that's
my
a big
kids are
deal.
alive.
CPS didn't take them away from
Exactly.
you and all that. So, anyways, I'm going to switch gears a little bit over to Barbara, right? I know there might be questions. I cannot see a thing. The 48-year-old eyes. I'm sorry, guys.
You need new
I
glasses.
I need to redo. And I was just about to talk about preventive care. So the show next week will be on preventive care. So I'm not going to take too much time to talk about that here. I'm a nurse practitioner, so I'll always bring up health related stuff. And the reason I'm going to shift this over to Barbara because she is a nurse and she deals with patients all the time. But I wanted to say that as we're talking here about life after 40, we have to think about our bodies. We have to start taking care of ourselves. We have to do the preventive things that that will keep us in shape, that will keep us going, keep us
Next 40.
enjoying. Yes, we don't want to focus on aging, but we still want to make sure that the temple of God is taken care of. We're doing our part. God is doing his part, but then we have to meet him halfway to do our part in terms of doing the annual checkups. Shelby and I work in hormone replacement therapy. So women have to check themselves, check their hormones, check what's going on, because sometimes we have things going on with us. Our mood is bad. Our sleep is bad. Our
Mood?
libido is bad.
Yeah. You have no energy.
And
I
we don't
mean,
know
Low
why.
energy.
It's because of our hormone, our
Yes,
energy level is
it
because of
is.
our hormones, and other things. That's just one piece of preventive care, right? But I had to throw it out there because we're being real here. We're being transparent. We're talking, we're talking to people who want to know, how to go about the things that they're dealing with, because each person might think they're an island. You're not. So once you're in this tribe, you're in your sisterhood, you hear what other people are going through and it helps you. So preventive care is important to me. But I wanted to throw it to Barbara's court. Barbara also does things, in the community, empowering women, talking to them about, living benefits and how to take care of yourself, how to prevent, you want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself in case you cannot work, if you're not able to work tomorrow. So, Barbara, speak to people who are still in the mindset of, I'll deal with it when I get to that point. The other thing, before she gets unmuted, Barbara, if you ever have Barbara in a meeting taking minutes for you, make sure you don't cough, you don't sneeze, because it will be in the notes. Right now, I'm sure she has notes on this podcast. Barbara took minutes at a meeting. Yeah, Barbara, unmute yourself.
Yes. I'm a little bit of that detail oriented that Sagi is talking about, but I didn't take a lot of notes in this meeting
Not
here
this
because it's
time.
not a meeting, it's a podcast. Everybody has a right to their own opinion, and we're speaking freely. So I think since it's recorded, we have good record keeping. I didn't have to write down much,
Awesome.
only stuff I probably would need to reference to. But she asked a question earlier. Maybe I will be skipping up my own topic a little bit, but I had a lot out of all of the conversations that we've all had. I don't know whoever told you, Sagi, that some people are, I don't know, maybe they exist out there. Some people decide to become stay-at-home moms and they are ashamed of themselves.
A lot.
Lord have mercy. I wish I had that opportunity. I would grab it with 10 fingers and 10 toes. But
Yep.
as Ernestine said, everybody's situation is different and you deal with your situation the way it presents itself to you. So that said, I admire people who decide to stay at home if they have the means to instill all those good values to their kids because that's exactly how my mom was. I would say she was a stay at home mom. Reason being because she was a teacher. We were with her at school, we were with her at home. So there was no way you would escape her wrath. She would be with you at school. Her colleagues knew she was a mom. Everybody was in front of your face, and you knew she was there with her face in front of you all the time. So there was no way you'd escape her. Maybe that's why we grew up to be who we are with the values that we have. So I really lift my hat off to ladies who decide to stay at home if they have the means to take the kids because there's nothing that can beat that. Single moming has been hard for me because I being a kid who kind of had a single mom, it was hard for me to adjust. But America is what it is, and we had to adjust. Now, as Sagi said, I'm a nurse. Being a nurse has exposed me to a lot of difficulties that people have in life because I think in all professions you listen to people's life stories and their journeys, but I think more so in ours. We meet people at different stages in life, young kids who are going through traumas, the elderly who have been through this life's journey, they're towards the end, and you listen to their story and you just wonder. Sometimes we draw strength from that as we grow older because everything, as I say, everything that happens to your life, to you in your life, impacts your growth and your maturity. Be it your church life, be it your work life, be it whatever thing you decide to be passionate about that you decide to do. You will listen to some stories in that aspect that would shake your belief sometimes. You would hear things that would make you wonder about this life, as if we don't hear enough in the news. But when you get up close and personal with people, man, there are incredible things out there. Being a nurse has really shaped me in that I have come across several things and several people and several stages in their life that, you know, I once met, this is just an example, I once met a 50-year-old lady. She was 52. It was in the beginning of the COVID period. Towards the middle of the COVID era. She had fallen and broken her hip. And that was a very traumatizing situation for her because she was my patient. I went to her room and I was like, why is it you're crying? I mean, you're not in pain, are you? She said, no, I'm not hurting. It's just I'm wondering who is going to pay for me being here in this hospital. I don't think they'll be able to do surgery on me because I don't have a dime to pay for this surgery. That touched me and I tried to explain to her that that's not how the hospitals work. At that time, I was completely oblivious about a lot of things, but I tried to explain to her that the hospital doesn't work like that. You're going to get treated regardless. True, we all are going to get treated, right? You, me, anybody out there in the street. Now, with the little job that you have, you get treated and you pack your stuff and go home. Do you think it's for free? No, it's not. It's not for free. You get treated, you go home, and you're going to face the financial consequences of that.
Mhm.
But her story was unique to me because she said, I worked hard my whole life since I was 14 years old. And I lost my father 5 years ago. I kept on saving my money. I saved up to the tune of about 50 something thousand dollars. And I decided at that point in time that I would leave the workforce and pursue my passion. Her passion being cooking, pastrying, and owning a restaurant.
Mm.
So all of her monies, bought a place, starting the investment for the restaurant. She poured her heart, her soul, and all of her finances to that business.
Mm.
And then, boom, COVID hit. She could not open doors.
Mhm.
Now, she has everything tied up in that investment and she doesn't have a dime to even afford life with. So she decides to start painting. Painting and house construction was a trade her father taught her when she was coming up as a child. So she went back to it and she was painting. And it was while painting somebody's house that she fell and broke her hip.
Mm.
Mhm.
Wow.
Just imagine that. And she finds herself in this predicament. Now she lays in that bed. She's going to be well medically, of course, because that's what we do in America. Everybody gets well. If they can pump your chest to you where you get well and you're walking with your have little finger, you walk out of that hospital. But then what next? What awaits you tomorrow is very uncertain and you don't know. So that's just one of the stories that I have that I am sharing with you today. I met a 23-year-old boy just last 2 weeks ago before I went on my Christmas vacation. He was shot and now he's now paraplegic. He cannot move his limbs from the waist down. He's just 23. And I looked at him, he looked decent. My son is 15, this boy is 23. I'm like, man, what happened to you? He said, I left my mom's house and I went to buy a joint down the street. And some people decided to shoot on me. But I'm only alive because I was also packing. So I shot
Oh,
back. And that's why I'm here today. But now you're paraplegic. You cannot move your limbs. You cannot defecate. You cannot urinate. You can't do anything for yourself. But you have a working mind. What do you do with that? Life continues. You're breathing. Your heart is pumping. Your brain is functioning. What do you do with that? So all of these things, now we have those patients. Sometimes when you're treating them, you're not treating them just medically because it's hard to treat them just medically. You have to be a psych doctor as well. You
Mhm.
have no knowledge about the psych part of the story, but you have to throw it in there because you have to stabilize the patient's mind enough to be calm enough for them to take the medical treatment so that they can be medically ready to go home. Now, you've done that while they're there. What happens when they get out? That's why we have a recurrence in the hospital. It- After a couple of months, they're back. They haven't managed themselves properly, and the bills keep on piling, and the bills keep on piling. Now, who takes care of those bills? I may be talking to us here, and we be like, "Oh, it's not me. I don't care about that. It's not my." Listen, in as much as you work, and Uncle Sam is still collecting your taxes, you pay those bills. Because for people who really cannot afford those things, all of those things fall on the taxpayers. Right now, as we speak, each and every one of us, even some unborn kids that we're carrying, already carry a loan toll on their head from Uncle Sam, from
Mm-mm.
the government.
Factory is
It's
closed.
going to get paid one way or the other.
Yeah,
It
The
may be
baby
funny, but
factory is closed.
same.
and
Sealed.
it may be funny, but it's true. Now you get into the workforce and you're paying taxes. All of your taxes go towards stuff like that. And do we also realize we Uncle Sam is looking at us? We work for Uncle Sam. Sometimes I cry when I go get that paycheck that we take our kids to the
mm.
daycare for. I juggle jobs here and there. to be able to remain with a little bit, because the moment you even attempt to go some do some stupid overtime to the expense of leaving your kid alone in the house in the street running around not knowing what they're doing, Uncle Sam is ready to grab it all. Grab it all. So what plans do we have in our lives to prevent that? I've been following these very seasoned ladies like Saaghe and my sister Ernestine there. And they're teaching us some good stuff, because at the end of the day, you want to come out on top. There is the American dream, but do we always have to be the ones who come in here and struggle for this America? Some people are actually living the dream, but some of us are here living the nightmare, because this punching day in and day out is living the nightmare of America. So I meet clients, I meet patients in the hospital, and they pour out their hearts about their financial situation after discharge. Imagine you have patients who come to the hospital. The only thing they lay in that bed, when am I going home? When am I going home? Because I need to go to work. When am I going home? Because rents are coming due and I need to pay the rents. Some of them leave against medical advice.
Mm.
They run away from the back elevator so that nobody should see that they're going.
Oh.
They're thinking about what they would. There was one guy once, he said, I need to go to the ATM to collect money to pay my bill. I'm like, you're in the hospital. Whatever money you collect from the ATM is funny stuff like that you see and you begin to wonder. The money you're collecting from the ATM, how is it going to translate into your bill? So do you mean that you go now collect the money from the ATM, go and pay the bill in the institution? No, you can't get out of the hospital. So then what next? So we're trying to help people and get them better to where they can go back to their lives. But it's very challenging if they have financial issues surrounding them.
Yeah.
And it's difficult for them to even open their ears to listen to the preventive measures that they need to take to prevent them from coming back to the hospital, if what is on the forefront of their mind is their monetary stance in life. It's hard. So all that being said, life is a struggle. We are all in it, struggling to make it. We should also keep an open mind to help whoever we see who come across, give them the information that they need to work on to better their lives, be it medically, be it financially, sometimes be it socially. I had a patient once who came to the hospital. He was married to his wife. That was his second wife. But she knew nothing about what was going on with him. Now, when the first wife came to the hospital, she's the one who took care of everything. We had to be juggling family issues. You know, who do we talk to? Who don't we talk to? So life is an intermingle of everything. Our social, our medical, even our financial. And if we don't have all of that in order, sometimes things can never be in perfect order, but at least try to get them to a situation whereby you can sit down and relax and say, well, I've tried my bit. God can take the rest.
Yeah.
You can put your life in a place where now you can be still and let God do the rest. God is in front of everything though, but when people are showing you what to do, when people are with a good mind and head over their shoulder trying to explain to you what to do, sometimes some people's lives are so difficult to the point where honestly they don't even they're listening to you, they're thinking of their next meal.
Yeah.
And we as human beings, we should be able to recognize where people are in life if we actually have to impact positive help towards them, because you cannot be talking to me about $1,000,000 and I don't have 250 francs to go and get the next meal. I'm not going to listen to you. What are you talking about? That like you're giving me space when I'm here on earth. I don't even know what is on my farm.
Yeah.
So when we talk to each other, let us not just talk with the sense of impacting the knowledge that we know. I'm guilty of that myself sometimes. It's always good to get people from where they are, understand what their own issues and concerns are, And that's the only way we can bring genuine growth to people.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you so much. Ladies, girls, we're gonna have to have another session. Those who are online and I haven't shouted out to you is because I cannot see. I know I can see
Okay.
Maggie, I can see Ango, Nito, um, oh my goodness. Just shout out to everybody who's watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing the video. And for those who will share and for those who will get others to subscribe, I thank you. I'm just going to have Mahwan and Shelby give us two short closing remarks so we can round it up. And then I appreciate everybody today. You ladies were wonderful. This panel was wonderful. It was a loaded segment. We could have gone on and on and on. I've learned so much from these ladies, even though I've talked to them all the time, but I've learned so much more from them. But I'll ask Marwan first to give, any final thoughts, Shelby, final thoughts, and then we'll wrap it up.
Well, what I'm gonna say to everyone listening is, growing old is nothing bad. There's nothing wrong with growing old. Don't think about your age. Don't worry about it. What you need to worry about is growth. Are you growing? Are you doing the same crazy things you used to do when you were younger? And if that is the case, then you need to check yourself. Another thing that I would say is, women, we tend to want to do everything all by ourselves, and I'm super, super guilty of that. Learn to know when to ask for help, learn to know when to reach out, because you don't want to carry every burden, everything on your shoulders. Give yourself permission to just seek help from trusted friends, or whoever it may be. Another thing that I would say is just go out and enjoy life. Enjoy life to the fullest. Be confident in yourself. Learn to do things by yourself. You cannot wait on people to help you out. Just go out there and explore life. There's just a lot to see, a lot of places to go to, a lot of experiences to try. So that would just be my part on all of this, is to just really embrace your life and stop worrying about a number. Take care of yourself, make yourself a priority.
Thank you, Shelby. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Well, first of all, thank you for having all of us. This was a really neat experience, and I'm really glad that I got to share it with such wonderful and amazing women. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
But yeah, I need to piggyback and just say age is a number. And as we get older, we're still going to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But are we going to continue to make the same mistakes? These are the lessons that we need to adhere to and to keep in our back pocket forever and always. We can still make mistakes, but we don't need to be making the same mistakes. And we need to give ourselves grace for the mistakes that we have made, be patient with our growth, and allow ourselves, to really just forgive ourselves for what we've done, for the women that we were in the past, but for also, kind of giving a pat on the back to the women we're going to become in the future. And so I think that's the most important thing. And not just our women, but our daughters, let's be that, good sense of space for them and allow them to make mistakes as well. I think that's important too. We can't make mistakes, but not allow other people to make mistakes as well. And so, but yeah, just stay healthy, get in the gym, Saaghe, run that marathon, Saaghe.
I know.
I know.
Why y'all
But
picking on me?
that is so,
Yeah.
mental health is so important, but also is physical health. I think so many of us, say we don't have time to do these things, which a lot of us don't, especially women who are working full-time jobs, who are full-time moms. It's a lot at the end of the day or to start your day. It's tiring. Nobody wants to do it, but we do it because it's necessary and it creates a very good healthy habit
Yeah.
for future us, you know.
Thank
So,
you so much. Thank
you're
you.
welcome.
Merry Christmas to everybody. I know
Merry
it passed
Happy
already.
birthday.
I know.
Happy birthday
Merry
to you
Christmas, happy
again and
birthday.
again.
And we will see you guys next year because the next show will be next year.
Yes.
And it will be a loaded show again. So until then, I want to thank every single person who was on tonight or today and appreciate you. Take care. And until next time, thank you for watching the Saaghe Fogwe podcast.